Alan said they're going to be part of the elected officials are part of making it happen. There are probably some folks in the room who are growing. But I want to be clear, one, that we don't get off of the purpose of why we're here. And the sad part of it is that we are at a point and a time in our community where any criticism is received personally, even when not intended. So having said that, I'm going to say what I have to say that I mean no disrespect to anyone, but there are a lot of people who have very strong feelings about this. I believe, I've been asked what my opinion is about this, and it's taken me a long time to figure out how to articulate it in a way that does not sound personal, because it isn't. But I think if the conversation is about how nice the police officers are, we are definitely having the wrong conversation. Come on. I have had my own self to call on the Boston Police Department for a situation, I will tell you, very sad. I have a stalker, young man, very, very, very bright, educated, bipolar, schizophrenic, who is in some serious trouble, and on last Monday agreed to voluntarily admit himself into the psych ward at Mass General Hospital. So our young people are in trouble. That's what I will tell you. To me, this would be like you trying to figure out how to fix a leak under your sink by putting the bucket there to catch the water. You've got to go to the source. And for adults, and it's been said several times, I'll say it again, this is a total abdication of our responsibility. What we're saying is that we couldn't figure it out, you have. Shame on us. We have so many people who have ideas and suggestions that have been put on the table. Yes. So many. And they are completely disrespected. They do not listen to them. And 79% of the young people in our community, the children, are being raised by single women heads of household. And nobody gives the mothers the respect that they deserve. How could we have a conversation plan about what to do with our kids and not have the people who are responsible for them 24 hours a day? 80% of them are single women struggling. They will tell you if you're listening to them what they need. They've been begging for our help. They've been asking for our help. And this wasn't the kind of help that they were looking for. And be clear, the police are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. So I don't take issue with this as their idea. The police are doing exactly what they're supposed to be doing. So I don't take issue with this as their idea. But I'm clear, this is their idea. What the hell is our idea? What are we supposed to be doing? This is not about this is not about us turning our children over to the police. That's supposed to be the last place they go. It's not supposed to be where we start. It's not supposed to be where we start. It's supposed to be where they end up when everything else we know we're supposed to do fails. And we haven't done it. We haven't done it. You want some, we have a list of ideas. And we keep messing this worked. This is not a secret. You can't take away 80% of the money and say what's wrong with the kids. So, you want to be helpful. So we need to have your support to do what we do know how to do, and that is to turn. I am so proud of these young people of Jamal for the organizing, the work they did, getting all the Last Thursday, we started our budget hearings for the fiscal year 09 budget. I sat in that room in the State House for 8 hours. I got up once to go to the restroom because of all of our budget, the legislators, and we're pulled in 50 different directions. I was the only black elected official sitting in that panel. On Friday, I went to Franklin, Massachusetts. Secretary of Health and Human Services, DMH, DPH, DMR, DSS, DYS, all of the organizations and agencies that are holding our children. And other than the Secretary, Judy Biggs, now he's years, the only black person on their staff. He went to homicide and stood there at homicide scenes and talked to the witnesses, and the young people would walk up to him and whisper because they didn't want to talk out loud. He left. There isn't one. You people understand that? There isn't one. The Secretary of Public Safety, I went to where was I yesterday? Palmer, Massachusetts. Westfield today. Secretary of Public Safety talks about, I said, I want to know what the Public Safety Secretary believes their responsibility is to find the source of the guns. You know what I told him? There's a minister in Cobham Square who every single day is on the radio and speaking out loud and says, where's the guns? And he's been ostracized. He didn't know who I was talking about, but you all do. Nobody, I told him that. You know what? Not only the ministers ostracized him, the rest of us black folks did too.
I love it. I love it.
And I'm generalizing, but come on. Isn't that the question? Like they don't know? They just blew a satellite out of the friggin' sky on one shot and it blew up. You can't tell this thing up. This is not a secret. We know exactly what we did in 94, 95, that where the guns are coming from. So we're going to find where they land, where they end up, and not where they come from. Yeah, every parent wants to know. Nobody decides to raise a killer. No. But this is a total abdication of our responsibility as adults. It is our responsibility to be responsible for these children. It is our responsibility. I watched Dorchester Youth Collaborative, Team Empowerment, ACE, all of these organizations that are dealing with our kids that were part of the community policing model. Since when did community policing means police in a community? That wasn't what it meant. They are a central part of this process. They have become the part of the process. And the only money you can get is for them.
That's true.
They need financial support to do what they need to do. But how on earth are we going to fix this when our young people can't get a job? Our governor just renounced his core reform plan, and they don't have the word juvenile anywhere in it. And everybody wants to be nice. Except for the kids, we say you can have them. This is wrong. This is wrong. And I think it's not about tweaking this plan. It's about getting our own act together. There's so many ideas. I see them. Is Solomon there? We don't even have a program for post-traumatic stress syndrome. Yeah, 82% of the women that are incarcerated have mental health issues.
I have 2 grandchildren left with nothing. Don't be over there now.
That's right.
My 15-year-old don't want
Come on.
because he's depressed.
Come on. I'm so happy that you are all here. I'm so happy. I'm so happy you're here. I'm so happy you're here. But you know what? This is not about balance. The police have been out meeting with the community to sell their plan, and they're supposed. Nobody sets out on their side. No mother, no father says, I want to raise a killer. No one. Two. They never invite anybody to come and tell people what doesn't work. So this is the one that people get to say what they don't like about it. That's okay. Just like nobody thought it wrong. The police are supposed to do that. At least they have a plan. At least they have a plan. Come on. I say no disrespect. I asked the Secretary of Health and Human Services, where is the evidence that giving, and I say all respect to my clergy brethren, because there are a lot of things that you all do, but I asked them to show us some documentation that giving faith-based money to fight violence, where does it work? I'm not trying to say, look, I'm in Morningstar Baptist Church every Sunday. If I'm not there, I'm somewhere else. This is not about bashing our clergy. It's about us being smart. This is about being smart. How could people be neutral on this? That's the last thing I'm going to say. Take a position. How could you be neutral? I don't care if your position is I like it, but how dare you say I'm neutral? What does that mean? What does neutral? What is neutral?
Vote down your vote percent.
Now, I promise. Reverend Odom, I know what I'm talking about. Reverend Odom, standing right next to you. That's your name, Reverend Odom, right? Reverend Colton was there too. Reverend Colton was there also. And so was Charles Ogletree, and so was They're like shocked. They don't know what to do. I don't believe that's the final answer, but you all pay into that system. You have a right to say, give us some money back to do what we have to do with our young men. We have a right to ask that. We have a right. But we also have a responsibility. And right now, I think we're looking for ways to give it to somebody else. We have to have an effective and a working law enforcement community in this city to maintain order. It is not their job to be raising our children.
Yeah.
It's not. And I understand the frustration that some people may have. You ask them, like you said, you'll find somebody who will say it's a good idea, but this doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. You're a juvenile in Massachusetts, you are court involved, which, by the way, 60% of the kids who call the city trying to get a summer job have a record. What are we doing? Are we really going to let 2 generations of people be unemployable for life? Let me repeat. The governor's reform plan that they announced 3 weeks ago does not address juveniles. And the Secretary of Public Safety said the DAs wouldn't have it. You see a DA here tonight?
The Secretary of Public Safety says there's no need for it.
Okay? This lady wrote a letter to the governor, and the secretary is saying, challenging that. The Suffolk Juvenile Justice Law Center. This is what she does. She represents our kids every single day. And said, I think it was a mistake not to include juveniles. She got a nasty letter back. The Secretary of Public Safety wrote a letter to the Dean of Suffolk Law School asking if what she said in the letter she wrote to the governor was reflective of the position of Suffolk University, or was it just her opinion? That's what we're dealing with, folks. That's what we're dealing with. You criticize government and they try to get you fired? This is, the whole thing is crazy. And we want to just make sure, we want to pretend like the crazy people are our young folk. It's a wonder they're not walking around talking to themselves all day, because we have so messed this thing up. Everybody is going to be necessary as part of the process to fix this. You can't shove it off. You can't give it to somebody. Don't think you say, I'm okay with this, and you can go home and sleep at night. We have to figure this out. We're supposed to be working with them. We're supposed to be working with them. Our witness protection program doesn't work. I found one family who actually had a mobile certificate and actually could move after a violent crime. You live in a project-based apartment, and you can't find another, and believe me, there are none sitting anywhere vacant. Right. You stay. That's right. That's how the young boy who was shot on Dorchester Avenue, on Dudley Street in August, the second time, lives in the same house he did 2 years ago when he was shot the first time. Because we can't find an apartment for his mother. And the city of Boston, the mayor's office, has been working overtime. Not the DA, who's supposed to be responsible for this. Not the DA, who has $1 million of state money they can call and ask. Not the DA, who I called the Department of Housing and Community Development and said they haven't had a call from the Suffolk County DA in 2 years. We have 800 shootings that they're working on trying to fix. Money that we appropriated, the legislators, if you all don't think we do what we're supposed to be doing. People say, I haven't seen you in Dudley. I tell my office is not in Dudley. I'm not supposed to be in Dudley. If you see me in Dudley, that means I'm missing the meeting. Now, I'm going to tell you, after having said all that, I'm asking y'all to sign my signature sheet. That's right. That's right. I'm asking. I'm asking. And Representative Fox has one. If you live in Roxbury, you live in Jamaica Plain, you live in Mission Hill, you live in Evanston, you live in the South End, you live in the Back Bay, you live in Beacon Hill, you're my constituent. Officially. If you live in the rest of the state, you're my unofficial constituent. Because I own everybody. So, you know, whatever you did, Jamal, to get them all here, let's figure it out. There's a whole lot. I see not only elected officials, Representative St. Clair staff is here, Congressman Capuano's staff is here. I see City Councilor John Connolly, City Councilor Sam Yoon, City Councilor Turner, City Councilor Yancey. Who else? Representative Representative Mike Ross, State Representative Willie Mae Allen, State Representative Gloria Fox, my state representative, and yours truly, Senator Diane Wilkerson, resident of Roxbury, the H block to be specific. Okay? Serious, y'all. Come on. You're too polite tonight. That's because you all want to say, I came to the meeting, I listened, I'm going home. And I told you. And I'm going to keep calling you all, because I want y'all to make sure we take care of this young man when he gets out of Mass General Hospital.
Did I come when you go?
Please, I talked to Dunford, I'm telling you, I called him. I called him. But also, I'm not trying to be funny, it's very sad, because who did I miss? Oh, Liz Malia, State Representative Liz Malia, who is the only other Boston, she's actually been at our budget hearings. Do I miss somebody else? Oh, Larry Mays, who is our Director of Human Resources for the City of Boston, was actually introduced already, so I wasn't trying to be disrespectful. Folks, come on. Stop pretending like we don't know this. When I tell people, mothers know everything. And grandmothers know 2 times everything. My grandson thinks I got eyes in the back of my head. I have convinced him. But you want to know what to do? Ask the mothers. Ask the mothers. And the mothers who need help, they should be able to call the brothers. And if the brothers can't fix it, then we call the police. But you can't skip over that point. You can't skip that part. Because once we do that, there's no turning back. Understand what you're doing. Because the constitutional rights issue is important. I'm sorry. That is important. Having the record, that is important. It's not that simple. It's a wonderful, good intention, like you said. Absolutely. Because they're doing what they're supposed to be doing. They got a plan.
We have one too.
Right.
So I thank you all for your time, your patience. Please sign my nomination sheet. And if you don't want to sign, don't write no nasty notes on my sheet.